I'm just not up close. Okay, before we get started now just kind of cue me what you want me to talk about. You want me to just... identify me or not as you wish.
Oh, I will. We'll identify you. I've got to take your business card home with me.
Okay.
Just get it. Make sure my focus is right. We're rolling.
Okay. The Golden Gate Bridge is normally viewed by the public as a transportation device that hooks Marin County with San Francisco County, but that is not really the sole purpose of it. It is also a piece of working machinery. Being a piece of working machinery, it has to be maintained. It is constantly in need of maintenance work that is ongoing 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. The electrical department is always on call to maintain all the navigational signals, the wiring for the lights out on the bridge, the wiring for the toll plaza. We then have our full-time maintenance crews of iron workers, painters, laborers, operating engineers and mechanics who keep the bridge functioning and maintained. The fleet of vehicles and equipment that it takes to operate the bridge are constantly being maintained. It is a full-time, ongoing operation. The paint department is responsible for all the sandblasting, inorganic zinc application, top coat application through the whole bridge area. They are work in conjunction with the ironworkers department, who are in charge of replacing the rivets, bolts, greasing the various pivot points on the bridge, maintaining the tracks and structure of the moving scaffolds, and usually follow in behind the painters after they've sandblasted, replaced any steel that is in need of replacement. Then they move out and the painters come back in and put on the top coat. We've been doing the sandblasting and inorganic zinc painting on the bridge for approximately 20 years. Our bolt replacement, our rivet replacement has been ongoing for approximately that amount of time. This takes a staff of better than 40 painters and over 30 iron workers. Cut me for a minute.
And smile, damn it, okay?
I get serious, I get serious.
All right, we're ready. We're rolling.
Okay. The Golden Gate Bridge is normally viewed as just a transportation link between the Marin Headlands and the San Francisco Peninsula. That is not the case. It is also a working piece of machinery. It is in a constant state of flux. It is being affected by the weather conditions, the temperature, wind, tidal action. It's constantly being bombarded by salt spray, the normal pollutants in our air. With being a working piece of machinery and moving all of the time, it must be treated also like any other piece of machinery. It must be constantly maintained. Because of the deterioration of the weather, it must be constantly sandblasted, painted, the rust must be removed, top coatings put on. The iron workers are constantly replacing rivets, pieces of bracing, catwalks. It's always being inspected for ongoing deterioration. The bearings are that support the main span that the bridge moves on are inspected every month. They are greased. The rolling scaffolds that are used for the maintenance of the bridge are also inspected constantly and constantly being greased, maintained. worked upon. It's just like your automobile, only on a grander scale. It has to have its service work, and it takes, rather than 1 or 2 mechanics to take care of it, or 1 or 2 painters to recoat it and that, it takes a crew of over 100 people to keep this ongoing process constantly. I blew it.
Okay, that's all right. We can just redo that sentence.
Okay. It takes more than just the normal 1 or 2 mechanics to maintain, 1 or 2 painters to top coat, 1 or 2 electricians to keep the wiring and everything going. It takes a crew of over 100 individuals covering several crafts and trades to keep the replacement process, the renewing process, the rejuvenating process going on a year-round scale. Some of our crews are on 24 hours a day. Some of the crews are on 24-hour call. The crews not only maintain the bridge, they come out here on emergency situations as the iron workers who take down banners that are put up by the public, who come out and take people off of the cable who are potential suicides, along with our tow service who operate on rescue of our patrons. And
start again with the tow people.
Okay, the tow people also come out and work on suicides. They also participate in the rescue and of our patrons, in accidents, in injuries of any type. The whole thing is controlled as far as the roadway maintenance and operation is controlled by the sergeant's office, who are constantly on TV surveillance. The maintenance of the bridge is controlled by the paint department and the ironworkers department. The paint department is responsible for all of the sandblasting, the painting, the top coating, much of the inspection of the steel for problem areas. The iron workers are responsible for replacing the wearing members due to corrosion or due to working of the bridge. They're also responsible for replacing all of the rivets that are being replaced by high tensile bolts now in an ongoing process that has been this operation, the sandblasting and the rivet replacement and some of the steel replacement has been going on for over 20 years. It started out as a very small operation, trial type of thing to see if it would work, and it's expanded into a very thorough, ongoing process that takes up almost the full time of the ironworker department and the paint department. Some of the painters work here on the buildings and the grounds. Some of the ironworkers work on the toll booths and that. But most of their effort is concentrated on the maintenance of the bridge. We also have operating engineers that maintain the large powered scaffolds out on the bridge that the painters use, the ironworkers use, the electricians use. The electricians are responsible for all of the wiring on the bridge. That's for every light, every navigational signal, every intercom, every roadway box that is out there on the bridge is maintained by our around-the-clock electrical department, who also maintain all the toll equipment and the communications equipment, everything that is electrical or responsible to the electrical department. We also have many pieces of equipment that are not seen by the general public that are utilized in the maintenance of the bridge. Our little personnel carriers, we have over 30 of those. We have 4 tow trucks. We have a fire truck, fire rescue vehicle. We have several large compressors that supply over a mile of air out on the bridge, which is used for all the sandblasting, painting, the operation of all the scaffolds. Somewhere on the bridge, air is constantly being used. We supply 6,000 cubic feet a minute, 8 hours a day. And also we have other compressors that are utilized for the navigational signals at night, on holidays and weekends, which are located here in our powerhouse, which are again partially maintained by the electrical department, partially maintained by the bridge maintenance department.
The boneyard, what is that?
Okay. In reference to the boneyard, I don't know where the expression came from. It was here when I came here 26 years ago, and it has stayed here. What it is a general depository and maintenance area, which is below the public viewing area here on the south end of the bridge. It's where we do a lot of our maintenance sandblasting, maintenance painting, some of our fabrication, a lot of our storage. It's a big storage yard, and it's called the boneyard, but I haven't the faintest idea why.
Maybe they take it down to the bone or something.
I think it probably came originally from a slang expression for a graveyard, and it was a graveyard of used equipment, and now it's become a full-time maintenance yard.
The net test.
The net test. There's a net test that is conducted by the iron workers, where they have a release device. They take 400 pounds of sand and drop it from approximately the roadway level down into the nets. Besides a visual inspection of the net for any deterioration on it, this is the final test. If it will stop 400 pounds of sand from dropping almost 30 feet and not go through, then it is safe for a normal person to fall into. And it is a big safety factor. There have been several people out here that have gone into the net, both potential suicides, and some of our maintenance workers in the process of their duties have gone into the net over the years, and nobody's ever gone through. The nets have always held, and that's the direct result of the tests that are made by our ironworker department by this method. The nets are replaced every so many years just because they should be replaced, whether the sandbag goes through or not. Right now we don't have one over on scaffold 4 because we're not doing any maintenance over there. It's been removed because we have a lot of problems with the public getting out there and playing around, is what it is, and it's better to remove it and not have them falling out of the net than have it out there. But anytime any of our scaffolds are operating, the nets are on them. They go all the way across the bridge in one continuous run. They extend approximately 20 feet out from the scaffolds to the north and south, and we do not have any personnel working on the scaffolds and that where they're painting or sandblasting or anything like that without the nets under them.
Toll collectors.
Okay, the toll collectors are directly responsible, of course, for the collecting of the toll of the bridge, but the toll department does far more than that. They are in constant surveillance out on the bridge. They control all of our roadway diversions. They control all of our special movement across the bridge where we have to have escorts or we have to divert somebody around the roundhouse. So the collectors in the booths also have to be responsible for closing down traffic when they're instructed to. They are responsible for a high degree of accuracy on their toll collection. We always have a sergeant, at least one sergeant, a lieutenant, and generally 2 more people in the sergeant's office. They are in control of the radios. They are in control of the security devices that are placed throughout the bridge and are responsible for security at all times during the day and night on the bridge proper. They survey the anchorages, make sure that nobody is tampering with anything. They check the equipment that is left out at night. They do this in the evenings and at night several times on a regular basis, not consistently on a regular basis because then people could time them. They go at staggered times and that and check things out.
Could you start a sentence out with, they have cameras underneath the main arch of each tower?
Okay. The sergeant's department is constantly the bridge is under constant surveillance from the sergeant's office through our strut cameras, which are movable television cameras. We can get, by rotating the cameras, we can get a full view of the roadway, north, south, mid-span. We can see the sidewalk areas. The only area that we can't see too well are right around the towers, because that's where the cameras are located. But we can shoot from, the cameras have zoom lenses on them. They can shoot from the south tower to the north tower and get some viewing of it. So actually the roadway on the bridge is under constant surveillance by DV monitor, weather permitting, of course. Okay, I'll just start from the bridge as a constant working piece of machinery.
Okay, let me... Got it.
Okay. The bridge is a constant working piece of machinery. Our normal patrons and commuters don't realize how much the bridge does move, how much it does work. It is constantly moving up and down, side to side. You can not only feel the movement down on the roadway, you can feel it at the top of the towers. There's been times where I've been up at the top of the towers and had my hard hat sitting on the deck and actually had the, when the vibrations were right and enough amount of trucks and buses going across, the hard hat has actually walked across the deck. You can feel the towers jump, you can feel them moving. If there's a heavy wind in that, you can feel them moving. You can actually go inside of the south tower on the west leg, look at a plumb bob in the morning, go back in the afternoon after the sun has been out, and moved around to the other side of the tower and see how many inches the tower has moved in the course of the day. Because of this movement, the bridge is supported by many bearings and pivot points. All of these bearings and pivot points are areas that have to be greased, just like any small bearing in your car wheel anywhere. They're under a tremendous amount of pressure. The more movement we get, as in a high wind and that type of situation, the more pressure they're under. So this is an ongoing inspection type thing that the Iron Workers Department take care of. They are always going out, greasing them about once a month. If we have a high wind or we have a lot of movement, a lot of shaking, they will go out and inspect them, re-grease them. It's a main part of the bridge, and these are very, very critical. These bearings and pivot points let the bridge twist. They let it sway. I've been out there in high winds and actually watched the top of the Berkeley Hills disappear, seen San Francisco Bay, and looked at the top of Alcatraz Island all in one swing. There's places out there where the bridge has moved so far as in 1955 when the bridge was closed down. There are actually dents in the structural steel where the cables deflected far enough that they hit the steel and bound. But that is the top degree of how much the bridge moves. It is always moving, it's always shaking. If you go underneath the roadway and work underneath the roadway, the sound under there is deafening sometimes. Just the working and movement of the bridge, of the vehicles going across, you can actually stand there and you can feel a truck with your back turned. You can tell when a truck goes by because the roadway actually will bounce under your feet. You can tell if a series of buses go over. You can tell by the way, what kind of traffic is going over the bridge at the time, how much of it is heavy traffic, just by how much the roadway dances up and down. Maybe most people wouldn't notice it, but of course the workers being out here for as many years as they have been, they've gotten used to it, they feel it, they know what the different vibrations are. Fortunately, we've never felt any great big ones.
The lane changers.
Okay, the lane diversion on the bridge was developed here on the bridge in the early 60s. We originally had some small diversion out here in the toll plaza. The people who have been commuting across the bridge for a long time will remember the metal paddles that would switch the lanes here in the plaza. that idea was expanded on, eventually extended all the way across the bridge. The methods and materials and everything have been developed either here by the bridge or by contractors who were working for the bridge. We've gone through I don't know how many series of tubes. We've gone from, we went from metal paddles, as I said, to hard rubber, from tubes that were 36 inches high down to our present plastic tubes. We've gone from solid tubes to tubes that are laminated together with wire in the base of them to keep them from breaking. They've cut the weight down on them, so that there's very little danger of any damage being done to a car by one of these tubes flying through the air. The lane changers are young people who are part-time employees. That this is mainly all they do, is they move the lanes from side to side. And it's a very harrowing experience in being out there and having your head 6 or 8 inches from a car that's going by 65 or 70 miles an hour. I've done it. I was in on some of the early development of it. I know how it feels, and it's no fun. They're out there in cold weather, they're out there in rainy weather, they're out there whether it's 29 degrees out, whether it's 80 degrees out, whether it's you know, bridge conditions that the people are not allowed out on the bridge to do maintenance. The lane workers are out there in. They take a terrific weather beating. They work usually 6-hour shifts. They start at 4 o'clock in the morning, and many times they don't finish up till 10, 11 o'clock at night. It's split into 2 different shifts. They also take care of the washing and waxing of the vehicles around here, but their main job is out on the changing the bridge. When they developed the tow service and the toll department were the ones who developed the program for going up to Strawberry. That involved, I think it was about 7 miles of lane change, all done by hand. Every bit of it is done by hand. 2 people in the vehicle, riding in back, switching the tubes from side to side. Some of these diversions are done 5 and 6 times a day. We put in our buffers out there in the evening. We put the buffers in on the weekend. During the commute hour, during the off-commute hours, the buffers are in. Then they have to go back, switch them over for the evening commute. This is an ongoing process. Sometimes they're using 1 truck, sometimes they're using 2 trucks. They will use, on special occasions, they'll use as high as 5 and 6 vehicles out there. Okay,
stop.
Okay, stop. The hardest jobs, my feeling on the bridge, the hardest job is physically the hardest. The people who take the greatest beating are the painters and the iron workers. They're constantly working in a very cold, very wet, hard environment. When I say hard, everything around them is steel or concrete. There are no soft spots. There are no round edges, so to speak. When they run into something, it's not like running into a kitchen table. Whatever they run into is solid. It's not soft like wood. It's not soft like dirt. It is solid steel or solid concrete. They're constantly cold. The cold is one of the worst factors out here on the personnel that work out on the bridge. I know many of the painters personally. I go back to the days before they sandblasted. When they were doing it all with chipping guns. I know people who have come in and 3 hours later their hands were still ice cold from the cold weather. They wear 2-3 pairs of gloves, they wear thermals, they wear a couple of pairs of coveralls, they wear 2 or 3 jackets, a sweater, and still on the cold days there's no way to get away from it. They are cold. On the days when it looks fairly nice out here, there's high fog in that. Underneath the bridge, it's still dripping wet, and the people are cold. And that is one of the hardest things for them to deal with. They take a terrific beating out there physically just from the elements and the conditions that they have to work under. When they're sandblasting, on some days the sandblast nozzles actually frost up and freeze up. That's how cold they get. It's very physically, it's very difficult. Besides the, you know, you're working at the height, you have to be alert. You only make one bad mistake, generally. There's some people have had a second chance. Fortunately, most of them have had a second chance. But it is an ongoing thing that just continuously beats you physically. I marvel at how long some of the painters and iron workers have worked out here on the bridge. It is very taxing. It'd be probably equivalent to paying competitive professional sports well into your 50s and 60s, which you know is almost physically impossible. And this is what these people are doing out there. They're under a constant strain. They are constantly being buffeted. It's a tough job. They earn every dime that they make out there.
Art department.
Art.
Art department. Painting. Or there's that, you know, like the guy that did the thing there.
Oh, you mean our, well, that's, okay, Jim, our sign painter. Geez,
how to do that. We do our own sign painting. Can you say that?
Okay, our paint department is also one of the things that I almost forgot. One of our paint department is is a paint foreman, and he is a sign painter.
Could you start out another way without? I almost forgot. Just say. Within our paint department,
okay.
We have
within that paint department, we have a sign painter who is also one of our paint foremen. He is responsible for all of the signs that you see out here on the bridge, all of the roadway striping, all of the parking lot type of things. He's also responsible, or does, this type of logo. He does much of the special artwork for the bridge. He is a very clever and artistic fellow. He's also the fellow who puts the stripes on the sides of our trucks, these new slash type stripes. Were part of it was his design and his idea. He's constantly looking for new ways to make the bridge a better looking place as far as he can, and he's also responsible for many of the signs that you see throughout the city and throughout Marin County, the bus signs, that type of thing. He's responsible for making those, or the designs of them. Some of our signs, there's so many of them that they're manufactured outside, but he has come up with the basic design on most of them.
Sure, I'll get a copy for you. What do you like best about the bridge?
Okay. What do I like best about the bridge? The thing that, okay, the bridge is a unique place in the world. It's not only a functional thing, it's an artistic thing. It's a thing of beauty. It's something that works. It moves. It does things. People, when they hear that you work at the Golden Gate Bridge, they have a million questions to ask you. It's fun to be on at times. I mean, it is beautiful. I always describe it as like a beautiful woman. It can either love you or can kill you, and you never know which at what time. That's my feeling about it. The years that I've spent around here, the times that I've been out on the bridge, there's been many times I've been out there with my heart in my throat, and I've put several sets of fingerprints out there, and so have a lot of other people out here. But still, it's enjoyable to go out there. You can go out there on a bad day, be out on the scaffold working on something, take a couple of minutes out, watch a ship going through, watch the fishing fleet coming back in. It's always different. You can, one of the most beautiful sights I think I've ever seen in my limited experience in that is the view coming down out of Waldo Tunnel on a clear day after a rain, a clear spring day after the rain at about between 5 and 6 in the morning, looking down there, seeing that bridge out there with San Francisco and the East Bay in the background. It's probably, it's one of, I've seen, you know, Glacier, I've seen Yellowstone, I've seen the whole western coast of the United States into Canada. I've never seen anything that was as naturally spectacular as the bridge, man-made or otherwise. Are we off?
Nope.
It's a special place to work. 25, 30 years, 20 years, everybody says, how can you work there that long? The thing about it is it's always changing. No day is exactly the same as the other. And the bridge is what does that, because it's always different.
The group of people who work here, are they like a family?
Oh, definitely. We have a family type situation here.
Could you start that sentence out like?
Okay, at the bridge, many of us have been here, as I said, 20, 25, 30 years. Most of the people have been here between 20 and 10 years. That means we've spent an awful lot of time together. We know each other's families. We know we've gone places with each other. We've gone to picnics, or employee picnics together. We've had interaction. I probably interacted with, as far as the working force out here, I've probably interacted with 90% of the people over that 26 years on a one-to-one basis in the work field. We are a type of family. We are a work type of family. We have to work together or we can't get the job done. Therefore, we do work together. And as in all families, we have our little squabbles and we have our pet peeves and that. But we have our Christmas party here and just about everybody attends. We have a good time. We have a bridge picnic that we draw 300 or 400 people from, two from the bridge and from bus and ferry. Yes, we have a fairly solid family type situation, the type of corporate situation that probably many of the companies are trying to foster and that we've had here for years. Too far over?
The volleyball game, is it an example of the noon volleyball?
Okay, our noon volleyball game, which I laugh about, it has the resemblance to real volleyball is that we use a ball in the net. We have a saying for it here. We call it either mountain volleyball or bridge volleyball. It's all the guys, many of the guys that work here that are out on the bridge all the time. Iron workers, painters, laborers, mechanics, and we have a good time. As I said before, we know each other quite well. And being in that type of situation, we do get a little rambunctious sometimes. Every once in a while, somebody gets knocked down or bumped down or gets hit, but it's all done in good-natured fun. We harass each other, sometimes mercilessly. But again, it's all done in good fun, and that's because of the type of situation we have out here, the close feeling between the employees. We have very few problems with it. He had almost 400 pounds of human beings on top of him, and he was lifting us with his two arms right off of and trying to get up, trying to get to his knees and get up. That is the kind of person you're. Some of them become very placid. When they realize you're there, they just melt. Some of them get very, very strong and very, very hard to handle and get almost you know, superhuman strength. We've gone out there and taken people in that were 6'5" and weighed 250 pounds. We got a hold of them. You know, afterwards we thought, what would we have done with them if they got violent? And this is what the iron workers are doing when they go up here on these cables to pull these people off. They don't know what they're going to run into. And it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts to go up there and do that. And come out on a weekend and not know what you're running into out there. It's something to be thought about. The people who are driving by, you know, they see it going on, but they don't realize what's really going on out there. It's scary sometimes.
Yeah, it's like the dark side of the bridge.
That's right. It's one of the things that the general public do not think about, and it's not the bridge's fault. It's not I guess not the people's fault. But the bridge is there, and don't ask me why they do it.
Get all that on tape. A little bit, damn it.
Were you taping now?
What we were just a moment ago. Not
Okay.
now.
How you doing?
Okay.
You an iron worker?
No, I'm the equipment out there, replacing rivets, sandblasting, painting, replacing structural steel, restoring some of the approaches, and just an ongoing process out there. But they're usually below the roadways or up on the towers where people aren't generally looking. So, you know, we have two that you see every so often going up the cables. They run continuously on down the cable and on the other side. The beacons on each one of the towers.
There's a beacon up there.
There's a beacon on the east side of the tower, on each tower. And then we also have our channel horns at midspan. We have our channel horns on the legs of the south tower down at the moat. Those are big air horns, and they're approved by the Coast Guard, and they have a definite range that they can hear them from. They have a definite timing on them that's controlled by from the powerhouse over here, and they work in sequence at different intervals, and they are all timed together. Goes wrong with the beacons at night, the electricians are required to go up there and make them function. They are aircraft beacons, and they have to be functioning at all times. If the horns go down, the operating engineers have to come out here at night and work on them. Fortunately, now we have backup systems on the horns and that, so we don't have to come out as often as we used to. We have new horns that we just installed this year also out there, newer type and that, less maintenance than that, and the electricians have completely rewired the system, so it's a little easier. We used to have to climb down over the side at midspan, go down the ladder to the bottom, and physically turn the horns on and off whatever time it was, middle of a storm, whatever was going on. Okay.
Let's move on the first one.
Okay. They will also be responsible for all the new tower lighting.
Let's do it again. They will be.
They will be responsible for all the new tower lighting also. Right?
Yeah, you put in two alsos. Let's
Okay.
do it one last time.
They will be responsible for all the new tower lighting. The way it was written.
Number two.
Okay. The bridge grounds are being maintained by the Street and Grounds Department, which encompasses gardeners, laborers, cement masons, and carpenters. Their efforts are what make the grounds so pleasant to visit. Traffic across the bridge creates a lot of movement and noise. We get over 100,000 vehicles moving across the bridge daily. Maintenance of the physical bridge is essential to its long life.
Let's. I want you to hold these papers up here. I want you to speak the whole two paragraphs again, and I want some energy in them. You know.
Okay. Now this is just the one where you're going to cut in. They will be responsible for all of the new tower lighting. Try it one more time. They will be responsible for all of the new tower lighting. Next one. The bridge grounds are being maintained.
Do it again from the top. Look up.
The first one again?
No, the second one.
The second one. Okay. The bridge grounds are being maintained by the street.
Smile and run it.
The bridge grounds are being maintained by the Streets and Grounds Department, which encompasses gardeners, carpenters, cement masons, and laborers. They are the ones that are responsible for all the beautiful grounds that the public enjoys seeing when they come out and visit the bridge. No?
Okay, now try and read it,
Okay.
and then we'll move on to the last.
Okay. Wait a minute, hold on.
I need 5 seconds here. All right.
The bridge grounds are being maintained by the Streets and Grounds Department, which encompasses gardeners, laborers, cement masons, and carpenters. Their efforts are what make the grounds so pleasant to visit. Okay? Now,
So now we're plugging in this piece here about, you know, you see the rap you were doing. Can I stop this for a second? I just don't want you to repeat stuff you've said. I want you to
okay.
I need 2 more seconds here. You gotta hit pre-roll each time you put the camera on pause. Okay.
It's always cold out there. It's continuously wet. The fog is always coming in and going out. The wind is always buffeting the personnel out there. We have had years here where the foghorns have actually been on 340 days out of 365. Except, oh, what'd I do? What happened? It's always cold out on the bridge. There's always fog. There's always moisture.
You were doing it. You were doing it.
I just went blank.
It's okay.
Okay, let's try it one more time. It's always cold out on the bridge. The noise is deafening. The wind is blowing. The underneath is always wet. The people are constantly cold out there. There's been years where we've had fog 340 days out of the year. These climatic conditions are terribly taxing on the people. That it wears them out. It's just physically doesn't work.
Okay.
It's not coming.
It's coming now. You're getting closer. You're getting closer. We're almost there. Let's just do it. Let's look at these words here, you know, and then just shoot. We're on. We're rolling.
Okay. It's constantly cold out on the bridge. It's constantly wet, and the wind is constantly blowing. There are no, quote, calm days on the bridge. Our location here is just continuous wind, fog, and cold. Even on the nicest days over in Marin County, we are on the bridge with bad weather conditions. Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right.
Could you say a couple words?
Sure, John.
Okay, got it. We're cooking.
The physically most taxing job on the bridge are the iron workers and the painters. They are constantly subjected to cold, fog, wind. They're working high above the water. Sometimes the iron workers are out on the steel with nothing but a safety belt, small piece of cable between them and plus their own skills, between them and imminent disaster. We have had 2 painters and one maintenance worker killed in the last 20 years on the bridge. It is dangerous work. The physical pressure from the elements is probably the hardest part out here. You are not only working against the hard steel, handling machinery, handling equipment. It's always cold. You're constantly cold out on the bridge. You are constantly under pressure from the wind, and you're constantly damp. There's no way they can possibly get away from it. It's physically taxing at all times. 8-hour shift out there is a hard 8-hour shift. There's absolutely no way you can get, quote, warm, as most people that are in most industries have some way of going and getting out of the cold, getting out of the buffeting wind, warming up, going back out to it. Those small houses that you see out on the bridge that have just been put in the last few years are one of the few conveniences or luxuries that the bridge workers have, where they can get in and try and get warm.
I want you to start.
That work better?
Better. But I want you to say, this is dangerous work. 11 people died constructing this bridge. 3 people have died
During the maintenance.
Maintenance over the past 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold, wet. Can you start like that? Do you mind?
Okay, this
It's dangerous work. 11 people.
the bridge is a dangerous working place. At best, it's a dangerous working place. Now that doesn't sound right because that.
You have to be careful out there.
Okay. Because of the physical elements out on the bridge, it is a dangerous place to work. During the construction, 11 people were killed. In the years since the construction, 3 people have been killed on the bridge. The conditions are always dangerous because you are working high, you are subjected to the elements, the wind, rain, fog, just normal fatigue, handling machinery. There's many places out there where the only way you can get your machinery or equipment in is by physically handling it. You can't get cranes in there, you can't get chain falls, anything like that. You have to physically drop it in on ropes, carry it in, take it over. It's not like working at a workbench or your normal type of office job, or even out in your backyard, anything like that. It's the workers are under constant pressure to maintain a high quality, a high amount of awareness, physical ability.
Hold on.
Dropped. It's very taxing. Okay, if you're going to drop it in right after this, very taxing. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You're cold. You're cold, you're wet, you hurt, you work hard, you are under the most inconvenient type of conditions, working conditions. Your machinery is many times difficult to handle. It's fighting you. You're trying to get it in. It is terribly, let's see, okay. Okay, it's probably the equivalent of trying to playing professional sports well into your 50s and 60s. Does that work better? You're also gonna do this just voice, huh?
Yeah. See, I'd have to put you in a t-shirt, get the sun out just the way it was.
Yeah, no.
Oh, shit.
What are we, battery pack
I
again?
can't believe that battery is...
I'm on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing,
Yeah.
the iron workers and the painter, the bridge iron workers and the bridge painters are the people who are front line. They are directly responsible for the maintenance. The maintenance on the bridge. They are the ones who keep it all going. The rest of us are, though we are essential to them doing the work, we are support groups. We keep the machinery running for them, but they are the ones who do the actual physical, keeping the bridge up, making it look nice, and that's what you see when you come out here to visit the Golden Gate Bridge, their efforts. Okay? Hello, John. Are we transmitting? 1, 2, 3. You gotta have it plugged in. Hello, John. Are we transmitting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now don't turn it on. Don't turn it on yet. Let me. Ready? The Golden Gate Bridge is generally thought of as a beautiful piece of engineering, a work of art, a piece of the transportation system, but it is also a piece of working machinery. It is designed to sway, to move, to raise, to twist. It's buffeted by the elements, the wind, the sun. That didn't work. I blew it.
That's a nice shot.
Ready?
Wait.
Signal you went.
Fucker.
I think I would move to something.
The Golden Gate Bridge is actually a piece of working machinery, and as the machines that utilize it to get from Marin to San Francisco County and back, it must also be maintained. It's full of 1,000 working parts, pins, swivels, rocker beams, which all must be maintained along with the regular structure. The regular structure is maintained by the painters and the ironworkers primarily. They are the backbone of the workforce that does the maintenance on the bridge. As any piece of machinery, it's constantly deteriorating and having to be upgraded and repaired. It's always being subjected to the elements. Consequently, the people who are working on it are constantly being subjected to the elements. It is always cold, it's always wet. No. Contrary to what you see today with this bright sunny day that we've selected, the weather conditions and the elements at the bridge are generally nothing like this. It's usually wet, cold, foggy. The steel is constantly cold, the steel's constantly wet, and it's always hard. Everybody who works out there is always working in a cold, hard environment. You can have 60 degrees on the roadway, go underneath the roadway, down onto the scaffolds, and you're down in 40-degree weather with a 15, 20, 25-mile-an-hour wind. It's terrible weather conditions as far as the people that are out in it all the time. Now or the...
Start it and then go into that.
Whoa, whoa, cut me. Okay.
And then go into how beautiful.
Okay, under these conditions, everybody has to work as a team. We have almost 100 people on the bridge at all times during the day, during the week. Under these conditions, everybody has to work as a team. We have over 100 people out on the bridge every day, working, surveying, maintaining. It always takes teamwork. You cannot work out here by yourself. One of the interesting things about the bridge is that you always have something pleasant to look at. No matter what the weather conditions are, you can look 360 degrees and you can see something of interest. You can see a ship like the one that's passing behind me. You can see a sailboat tacked into the wind. You can see the offshore racers running through here. You can watch nuclear subs go in and out. Some days you can even see whales and sharks and many, many times seals just swimming around underneath the bridge, going in and out. It's a very interesting place to work. That's one of the things that makes people work here for 20 and 30 years. You can see a ship as this one that's passing behind me. You can see nuclear subs. You can see sailboats tacking into the wind with their crews hanging off the sides. You can see whales coming through the gate, seals, sharks. You can see anything you want to. You can look at the headlands and see tourists walking up there having picnics. You can look towards the city, towards the Berkeley Hills. On very nice days, you can see the University of California, Campanile. It's just a wonderful sight any time of the day, any time of the year. You can always see something of interest. You ready? One of the consequences of working in an area like this with the beautiful view and everything is that you are out in the middle of nature. You're constantly subjected to the elements. Wind, rain, fog, sunshine, sometimes. I went blank.
Okay. What about what's involved out there? The net test, the scaffolding, net, scaffolding, maintenance of that 1 mile of air. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of cars, trucks, and all kinds of equipment goes out there on that bridge. We're right now going to handle just what goes out there. Over 100 people work out there.
Okay, I've already said that,
yeah,
right?
no, but say it again here.
Yeah, you want me to?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can do it.
Okay. Whenever you're ready. With 100 people working out on the bridge at all times, it takes a lot of machinery and a lot of equipment to keep it going. We have almost 2 miles of airline, we have almost 2 miles of major airline. We have another 2 to 3 miles of secondary airlines.
That's too detailed.
That's too detailed. Okay, forget it. So we're just taping the tape now.
What's
talking.
involved? What's involved out there? What do the painters do? Tell me everything the painters do. I mean, the major things.
The primary job of the painters is to sandblast the whole structure of the bridge. They take all the old red lead off by sandblasting, replace it with inorganic zinc, and put a vinyl top coat over it. This is done every working day of the year that the weather permits and has been ongoing for over 20 years. Anything more?
Yeah. The last time we talked, you talked about how the sand. Let me turn this up for a second. I need 5 seconds here. Rather than read it, let's look at this.
I can do it off of that. I don't think I'll have any problem with it.
Okay. Go ahead.
The paint department is responsible for all the sandblasting, application of inorganic zinc, and top coating. They work in conjunction with the iron workers who do steel replacement, rivet replacement, rigging, and various other shit.
Relax. I got a nice picture of that rope room in there.
See, are we overlaying a film, or are you just going to overlay the voice on the film?
We're going to overlay, put down the voice, and then I put the film on top.
So what I say doesn't have anything to do with what's going on with the film right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, this stuff, we're not making the film here. We're taking a raw, we're making
The paint department is responsible for all the sandblasting, application of inorganic zinc, and top coating of the bridge. Their work is what you see, all this beautiful red that we have on the bridge that's known around the world. They work in conjunction and in tandem with the ironworkers department, who are responsible for all the rigging, the safety netting, replacement of members, replacement of rivets. The iron workers will go in and remove steel. The sandblasters will go in and sandblast behind them. Then the iron workers will come in, replace the steel, and the steel will be painted, and the top coat will be put on. This is ongoing every work day of the year, and it has been ongoing for the last 20 years.
Why do they do a safe? Tell me about this net test again.
All right, the net test is...
Briefly.
Okay. The net test is the safety nets that you see hanging underneath these scaffolds that are on the bridge. This net test is simply taking 400 pounds of sand in bags on a releasing it from roadway level down into the net to make sure that the nets will hold a falling man or piece of equipment or whatever it is, up to 400 pounds.
Okay, can you do it shorter?
It's damn hard to do.
Okay. It's crucial that we do it next.
Yeah. It's crucial that we do net tests. This is accomplished by the iron workers taking 500-pound... It's crucial that we do a net test periodically. The safety nets underneath the scaffolds have to be tested because they have to stop a falling object. The iron workers take 400-pound bags of sand, release them from roadway level, and let them free fall into the net, which is approximately 25 to 30 feet. Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready, sir.
Huh?
I'm ready.
The bridge roadway is suspended at each one of the towers by pivot points. These are big pins with bearings on them, and it allows the bridge to be able to twist and move with the weather, with the wind, with the heat on the towers. These pins are under tremendous amount of pressure, and they have to be lubricated just like any bearing in a car, only on a larger scale, and this is done by the iron workers. Ready?
I'm ready.
Working on the Golden Gate Bridge, you must be an outdoor person. Being out in the elements is the norm, not the exception. You have to be properly clothed. You have to take different types of clothing along with you when you go out on the bridge. You may start in shirt sleeves on the south end. Excuse me. You may start out in a jacket on the south end and end up in short sleeves on the north end. When you go underneath the roadway, the temperature may drop as much as 15 or 20 degrees with a wind chill factor of maybe 15 or 20 mile-an-hour winds. You have to be able to stand the cold, the wet, the depressant of the fog being around all the time. You have to be able to operate at the top of your talents under those types of conditions.
I want you to do that. I want you to talk. I want you to say, if you're gonna work on the bridge, you have to work with nature. It's damn cold out there.
If you're going to work on the bridge, you have to be able to work with nature. It's damn cold out there, it's wet, it's windy, and you have to be able to stand it. Not stand it just for a few minutes or even an hour. You have to be able to stand it all day, 5 days a week, 50 working weeks out of the year. You can't want to go inside all the time. It's just not that way.
Good, 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 good. Fuck, where is
Part of the beauty of the Golden Gate Bridge, of course, are the grounds that surround it. We have the natural headlands of Marin. We have the headlands of San Francisco Peninsula, but around the toll plaza and that, rather than just a big chunk of concrete sticking up, we have some very nice grounds that are maintained by the gardeners and the Streets and Grounds Division.
We have carpenters and painters on the land. We have a boneyard where sandblasting is done.
Okay, we have carpenters and painters, cement masons, laborers. We have a boneyard where most of the sandblasting around the yard is done.
We have equipment, compressors, generators.
We have equipment, compressors, generators, chainsaws. We have enough equipment here to probably outfit a small town.
With a small fleet of vehicles. No, let's skip that.
Yeah, that really, you know,
Right. Okay.
that's part of the equipment
Right.
to
Yeah.
supply a small town.
I want a few. I mean, a line here about support. We have support people of all. We have. There's over 100. Do we want all of them?
No, I'm just going to say we have over 10 crafts and trades working here at the bridge in support of the maintenance program that's ongoing full-time 365 days a year. We have a shop and grounds that would make anybody proud to work at.
Take that last sentence again.
Take that last sentence, huh?
We have a shop, grounds. We have work facilities.
Okay, let's go that. We have work facilities and grounds that anyone would be perfectly willing to work at or be proud to work at.
Again, just one of those, either willing to work at or proud to work at. Say proud.
Okay, getting redundant.
Shouldn't.
Right now, nothing.
All right. What's it for?
It's
We're busy.
yeah.
I'll tell you later.
We're on
Come
time.
back.
We're on his time.
Okay.
I even forgot where we started now.
We're talking about the facilities, the physical plan here, the facilities and work area. Would be anyone would be proud to work
Yeah.
there.
The facilities here at the bridge would be the facilities here at the bridge are
stuttering.
Yeah, I know I am. The facilities here at the Golden Gate Bridge are of the type that anyone would be proud to work at.
Here come the questions.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
The safety of the maintenance personnel at the Golden Gate Bridge is one of the topmost concern of everybody that works here. The facilities, the beauty of the facilities, the maintenance of the facilities are also uppermost in our mind. The thing that makes it possible is the teamwork between the people who do these things. That's what one of the things that makes the Golden Gate Bridge a unique spot in the world. On the steel and that, they're always concerned for the other guy as well as themselves, because the other guy better be concerned about them too.
Right.
Because that's their safety link. You know, that's always your safety link out there, that other person. You got to make sure that that guy is not going to hesitate, you know, if it comes to it. That's part of the teamwork, and it's also part of the safety. It's hard to say, you know, what a safety program is or a teamwork thing is in just a few words, but that's the best I could do.
When you came here first time to work here, your first day and stuff, what was that like?
You want to know something, John? I really can't remember.
Okay.
I mean, that was 26 years ago.
Yeah, I know, that's a long time. Well, what is it that you like best about, oh, shit. What is it? What was it? Or what is it, you know, that, tell me again about what the joy of working out there. I mean, it's obviously a person has achieved their objective getting this job.
Yeah, I think that's proved by even though some of the guys gripe about it once in a while, that they, when they come out here, they found a place of permanence. I think that's one of the things about it, is that it is a place of permanence. There's very small changes in it. All the changes are gradual, but as our world changes so rapidly, this is one of the places that you can come, and it is always the same. The scenery is basically always the same, and yet it's always changing and it's always moving. It's something solid. It's a tribute to a lot of things, a lot of people. It's a functional thing. It's not just something that's sitting there doing nothing. It's functional, and it is real, very lively. You get a real feel of mobility and yet permanence about it also.
Tell me a little bit more about working together with people working together. I mean, you know, the crucial aspect.
Well, when you're out on the bridge, you have to be sure that the person that you're with is the type of person, which they all are, that are going to be there if you need them. They have to be sure of you also. That takes a lot of communication. That takes a lot of time together. Green Pea doesn't go out there and just fall right into the gang, any gang. They have to know him. They have to learn what he does, what he doesn't do. They have to know that they can rely on him, because he may be the one that has to pull them back, or they may have to be the one that pulls him back.
Tell me about leaving fingerprints out there. What does that expression mean?
Well, leaving the fingerprints on the bridge is another expression for pure panic that many of us have experienced out there, either the first time or the first little slip, or when something hasn't actually worked the way it was supposed to. I left a nice set of fingerprints right up there on the second saddle on the main cable here on the south tower when I first came to work out here.
Where's the second saddle?
It's the one that's just visible there to the north of the south tower here on the east side. That's just that set of suspender cables that you can just see there.
Okay, here, could you put my camera on that spot? Here, come here.
Let's see if I can.
See, I'll go in.
Okay, right there, right on center, right there.
Okay, hold on. What happened there?
Well, that's where a friend of mine, who at the time I was just brand new here, Joe Travato, I said that I wanted to go out on the cable, and he said, well, that's fine. He said, well, you're out there. How about taking some pictures of me standing right up here at the very top of the bridge at the beacon? And so I said, well, that'd be okay. And so he handed me a camera case, which I didn't pay much attention to, hooked it around my neck, walked out on the saddle, and turned around, rehooked the safety line. As I pulled the camera out, I found out it was a motion picture camera. And then Joe told me, he says, Tom, while you're out there, he said, I like a panorama of the East Bay, San Francisco, me at the top of the bridge, and then, of course, out here at Seaside. Well, if you've ever stood on something that's only 3 feet wide, round, 700 feet off the water, with both hands on a camera looking through a little bitty eye hole, you'll know why I put fingerprints up there. Actually, I was holding on to it with one hand. The other hand was firmly embedded into the handrail. I never forgave him for that one either. The only other time I can really think of where I've been really nervous was the first time I went over the side at midspan. Shoot right there at midspan where the platforms are for the horns. Right at the bottom of the loop, right in the center of the bottom of the loop. Yeah, the first time I went over the side, it was at midspan where we had to climb down a ladder down to the platform on the lower chord. At that time, there were no safety loops around the ladder. You were just kind of open to the scaffolding and the platforms. Well, I can guarantee you that there's at least one set of my fingerprints in every rung of that ladder going down and coming back up.
When you leave a set of fingerprints, I mean, I need that expression explained.
When you leave a set of fingerprints out on the, let's see, you want it in with the story?
Yeah, no, I want you to say, there are several sets of fingerprints, and fingerprints are all those times.
Yeah, there are, if you could really look at the bridge closely, there are several sets of fingerprints out there on all parts of the bridge. The term leaving fingerprints means gripping on so hard that you don't know whether you're going to be able to get your hand off again, and you just have to force yourself for the next move. It's really a feeling of, I don't want to go any further.
I gotta get up there. I gotta practice this. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We were up on the saddle at our lunch hour.
Oh, we're up on the tower.
Okay, go ahead.
You ready? Joe Travato and myself were up on the tower on our lunch hour when I first came to work here. I went out on the cable for the first time, and it's a long way up. Joe asked me to take some photographs of him standing on the very top of the tower. So I took the camera, not looking at it. It was in the case, and went out on the saddle. I turned around and took the camera out of the case, and it was a moving picture camera. Joe told me then that he wanted a panorama of the full Bay Area with him in it, and I had to stand out there holding on with one hand, taking motion pictures of Joe, looking through a little bitty eyepiece, and I never forgave him for that one. Is that fast enough? This has been done for years out here.
Sure.
I don't think anybody, the first one I don't think anybody is going to object to. They don't have to, I mean, I didn't say we were up there on work time. I didn't say we were on the weekend. It's just the first time I was up on the cables. Joe Travato did it to me. But it is, I guess, maybe too long. I don't know. Yeah, I shit my pants and then came back down. I mean, you know. That's our guys. Over there on the leg, right there by the leg on the wall.
Oh yeah, I see it. Okay, we're on.
Let me run it through. The bridge is a piece of machinery that does the job. The thing that makes it so unique is its location and the style that it does its job in. It's the same way with the maintenance crews out here. They're all different types of people, doing all different types of things, but they work together, they work in their own way, they work in their own style, and around the world they're unique to themselves. They work at the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay? That go all right?